Hello, hello. Welcome to the Tea Nicole Show. I am excited that you guys are here with us on today. I want to thank God for life, joy, peace, hope, His promise, and all that we need and so much more. Can I tell you guys, you are in for a special treat. I am your host with the most, Tea Nicole, and I am the founder of Driven by Purpose. And I have an amazing guest here today to join me as we talk about love, life, and creating with our visual images, or with images, I should say. And then I want y'all to know this woman, I met her a couple years ago. We used to go to church together. And when I tell you, I've seen her act, I've seen her praise God. I seen her speak. And when I tell you she has a powerful voice, she has an amazing voice. She has like this voice that will change your life. So I want her to come up here and I want y'all to, before we get started, let me hold on, let me back up. Make sure y'all like this video. Make sure y'all share this video and make sure you tag somebody in this video because somebody somewhere needs this video on today. Because again, like I said, I have this woman of God, number one. I have this great, amazing photographer, speaker, actor, and everything. Oh, she's a mother, she's a wife. I ain't gonna tell her business. I'm gonna let her get on the show and tell us what she needs to tell us. So y'all make sure y'all like this video, share this video, and tag somebody because again, she bring people to life through pictures. So y'all hold on one second. Let me bring her into the room. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ah, I lost her for a second, so hopefully she'll be able to come back. But I thank God. There we go. I got my sister back. Hold on, y'all. I got her back. I got her. Hey, my beautiful, amazing sister. How are you?
Hello, hello, hello. I am great. I am great. We had a little glitch there
I
when we were
saw
trying to
that.
stream to the audience. So,
but you know what? It's okay. You back. I was like, I said I lost her. I lost her. But I see you. You that came back into the room. So I want you to do us a favor, Sister Walls. I want you to introduce yourself to the world.
hello, my name is Shelia Walls, known as Shiki. Um, I have been friends with Nicole for a while. Like she said, she hyped me up so much. I was like, "Oh, I do it. I did all that. Wow, I didn't know I did all that." I was like, I, I, wow, I'm pretty awesome, aren't I? But I thank her for the hype. God, to God be the glory.
Mhm.
I don't know how awesome I am, and if my, you know, ministry touches people, I am truly blessed because of that. And I do use my photography to try to help people, to see themselves like God sees them. I had an opportunity a couple of years ago, to work with the women of Grace Centers of Hope. A lot of those women were from abused relationships. We had two young ladies who had been rescued from sex trafficking. One young lady had been trafficked since the age of 5. Very timid young lady. Um, they gave me an opportunity to teach on forgiveness. And the reason I um, talked about forgiveness was because of some of the issues I had encountered. You know, um, life's ups and downs, abuse, rape multiple times, never told anyone, you know, carried that burden by myself, never said anything, became angry. And I realized that anger turns into bitterness. And then bitterness digs down into your very soul and becomes and roots itself. And you become evil, mean. At least I did. I became a very mean spirited person. I literally walked around with a chip on my shoulder, and my philosophy was I'm going to hurt them before they hurt me. And then later, I adopted an attitude of if a man, men gonna want me, so maybe if I'm fat, they won't touch me. That so being overweight became my shield, or so I thought. But I realized along the way that they really don't care what you look like. Because if they're gonna abuse you, they're going to abuse you, whether you're a supermodel or a grocery store clerk. So it wasn't until later in life that I realized that weight, I didn't need to carry that weight anymore. Not only physical weight, but the mental weight, the spiritual weight. I had to let it go. And so when I got opportunity to speak to the women, I used myself as an example whenever possible. And I had to tell them, when you carry that weight of hate around, it stifles your growth because you're so focused on hating the person who hurt you. But that person out there living their best life, they could care. They don't even remember half the stuff they did to you. When I tell you, I was literally praying, Lord, you know, I want this to happen to them, and I want this to happen to them. I want them to be miserable. I want them to hurt like they hurt me. And it wasn't, I mean, years of trying to press it down and press it down and press it down. At some point, guess what happens? Like a volcano under pressure, sooner or later, it's going to erupt. And you're either going to destroy the people close to you, or you're going to take out that anger on people that had nothing to do with the situation. And and that's what I was doing. I heard it. I hurt anyone who got close, anyone that I saw as a threat, even people who genuinely was trying to love me. I was like, they want something. And it got so bad. I was so arrogant. Oh my God, I was so arrogant. When I would hear stories of people attempting suicide or committing suicide, I was arrogant in my thinking that, oh my God, it's nothing that bad that you just gonna kill yourself and not think about the people you leave behind. And in my arrogance, the Holy Spirit stepped in and He allowed me to go to that dark place. He allowed me to get to the edge and to look into the abyss before He pulled me back. And when I realized, oh my God, but for the grace of you, that could have been me. There are situations where people see no way out. And that's when I realized I could use my situation to let people know there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a way out. Tell somebody, talk to somebody, but first you got to forgive. And I'm sure everyone's heard this before. Forgiveness is not for the person who hurt you, it's for you. It's true. Because as long as we carry that anger around with us, like I said, it stunts you. It stops you from growing. It stops you from allowing positivity into your life. So once you forgive that person, you don't forget the hurt that they did. You never forget that. But you forgive them. And when you realize that you really forgave them, it's when you can see them or hear their name and you feel nothing. You're indifferent. You don't hate them. You don't wish them harm. You can genuinely see them and they can cross your path, and you can speak to them out of love and not hatred. And I had that opportunity. One of the people who changed my whole life perspective when I was 15. I was When I was 15, I was still playing with dolls. I'm still playing with dolls. I like boys. I thought they was cute, but I didn't like them like that. And this person took a liking to me. I didn't like them. I didn't want to be with them. I didn't want them to touch me. I tried my best to stay out of their way. And this person, one night, where we lived, we had a tall pine tree that sat in our front yard. And he climbed that tree one night and came into my bedroom. And I woke up to his hand over my mouth and him telling me that I was going to be with him, and me telling him, I don't do that. I don't, that's not, I don't have sex. I don't do stuff like that. And him not believing me. Oh, we're going to see. And him raping me right there in my bedroom, and me terrified to scream because my sisters were next door. And what really kept me from screaming was the fact that he threatened that if he couldn't get what he wanted from me, he would take it from my sisters. And they were little children. So I laid there with tears in my eyes and let him do what he wanted to do. And then I got up and I went in my bathroom and I was crying and throwing up. And I remember him coming in the bathroom going, I popped your cherry, so you really ain't been with nobody. So I'm your first. And he left. And I laid there and I cried, not understanding why it happened. Why, do I tell? Do I not say anything? And mind you, I was terrified of this person. Their whole family was just mean. So I didn't say anything. It wasn't until later on, situation happened. And it wasn't until years later. I was 15, suppressed that memory. It came flooding back when I was in my 30s. Let me tell y'all, whatever trauma you went through, for some reason, things want to bubble up when you hit 30, 30, 35. Memories that you thought you had buried, they come knocking. Mine came knocking. I was at my house in my backyard, and I heard a familiar voice call me by my name. And I turned around, and there he was. And I froze. I'm grown now. I can defend myself now, but I froze. And I remember running into the house, and I'm shaking like a leaf and just burst out crying. Just crying. And my husband came in. He said, "What is wrong? What happened? What's wrong with you? Why are you screaming and crying?" And I had to tell him, "It's that man right there." He said, "What about him?" I had never told my husband I had been raped. He never knew. But at that moment, I had to tell him because he didn't understand why I was losing my mind. And when I broke down and told him, he held me. He held me and he told me, "Well, he can't hurt you now. He can't hurt you now. And I'm so sorry you went through that." And as a grown woman rocking in my husband's arms, later that day, I was like, I need my mama. And I remember getting in the car and driving to my mama's house and walking through the door, and she was sitting in the chair. And as soon as I walked in, she looked at me and she said, what's wrong? And I just burst out crying again. And I broke down and told my mom the truth. And she's like, why wouldn't you tell me something like that? I'm like, because I don't want you to blame me. I don't want you to be mad at me. I don't want you to hate me. And that's when my mother shared that she was a victim of the same abuse. She would have understood what I went through, but I didn't know. And I was scared to tell her. And me and my mom cried together that day. We cried, and I broke down and told her about all the abuse.
I want to stop you right there. I want to pause for a minute because that's a lot to take in. But I'm glad
Mm-hmm.
you are sharing your story because the thing about this is from a victim to a victim, now we are survivors. And
That's
the thing
right.
is, it's like some of the things that you said, I can personally like understand. It happened to me personally. So to hear it and listen to everything you're saying, it's like I had them same feelings. Like it was
Mm,
my fault. I didn't know if I could share with anybody.
yes.
Sure, that's the same for many of our audience because a lot of times people when they have been victims or abused or just whatever the case may be, they don't want to tell anybody because they don't want people to know their truth. But you did something. You and your mother, you did something. You share a moment with your mother and she told you it happened to her. So here it is in 2024. Now is the time when everything is uncovered, everything is open. So
Mm-hmm.
as a woman now today looking back on your past, like do you feel like you have the strength now to tell your daughters and their children and
Mm-hmm.
so forth what happened to you so that way you can be the person to break the cycle? Because like you said, your mom had experienced it, and I feel this is just me, like I'm not taking from your mom. I'm just saying anybody, everybody that's listening, everybody that's going to watch this video, like if you could speak to somebody that may have experienced this or somebody that's yet to experience this, what advice would you have for them to tell like their story to their children and so forth and so forth?
I would honestly say I wish someone had told it to me. So I guess that's why I like, you know, telling, because you hold that shame and you carry it around. My advice would be tell someone, because it's in the telling that you free yourself. And it's in the telling that we can stop it from happening to someone else.
Mhm.
And when we tell, we can sometimes lead to the rest of the abuser.
Yes.
And it is very important to tell someone. I mean, the ugly truth is sometimes when you tell, they may not believe you,
Mhm.
especially if it's someone close or sadly a family member. They may not believe you, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't tell it. Tell it until someone listens. Tell it until someone listens.
Yeah.
That would be the thing I would say. The most important. Tell until someone listens.
Mhm. Now I have another question, and I hope it's not invasive. Like, I know you have children. So
Mm-hmm.
have you shared with your children your story, and have they been like receptive to what you had to say?
I think I haven't like set them down individual and like just told them all of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I have shared um parts of it, of being, being in an abusive relationship or being molested.
Mm-hmm.
And hence my some of my family know, and they only know because I'm penning a book called Bowed and Not Broken.
Ooh, love it.
And I let my daughter and my sister proofread.
Mm-hmm.
And see, my sisters never knew. They never knew. And my younger sister did not know any of it until she proofread the manuscript and sent it back. And it was it was kind of surreal
Mm-hmm.
because she was holding it and she goes, "This is not fiction, is it?" She said, "This really happened, didn't it?" I was like, "Yes." And then she thanked me. She said, "I thank you so much, for sharing. So much makes sense now that didn't make sense to me when I was growing up."
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, yeah." Because it was certain, and I understood what she said because we talked for hours. She was like, you know, I couldn't understand why she couldn't understand why I was so overprotective. And she was, we laugh about it now how some of their friends got picked on or bullied, but growing up in our neighborhood, the saying was like, don't mess with them. You do not want to mess with them because you know who their sister is, right? And they was like, no, they was like, that's Shelia's sister.
Mm.
And they was like, and long as she talking to you, you're fine. But if she come out them shoes, run.
Run.
So,
Oh.
and she was like, nah, it all makes sense. It all makes sense now. And no, and my brother don't know. He doesn't know. He just knows that it was certain people I didn't like and
Mm.
certain people I don't want to be around. But he doesn't know. And now that I think about it, I'm like, how he gonna have me find out?
Mm. Are you gonna allow him to read it before it's published so that
Yeah,
he won't be blindsided?
yeah. I don't want to blindside him.
Mm-hmm.
I let him see beforehand
Yeah, yeah. But that's
because that would be mean.
yeah. But I want to say thank you for your bravery because it took a lot of courage for you to walk in your truth, to tell your truth, and not worry about judgment. But you said something. Like when I tell you, you sounded just like me in my situation, and I believe you sound like so many others because you said something about putting on the weight and was like, you know what? If they gonna abuse you, no matter what size you are, they gonna
Mm-hmm.
abuse you because they're not attracted to what you look like far as your weight. They wanted something that you had, and it was
Mm-hmm.
something physical. So they was like that weight was just a thing, but psychologically, because like you were young, and the thing was it happened when you was young, and so your brain was still being developed, number one, and you're like, okay, if I don't do this, and it's like the cowards, they threaten you to take something,
Mm-hmm.
to harm somebody else. And that's what I call them. I call them cowards because it's like they violated you. But despite the weight, despite, like you said, like I had to forgive. So I'm so glad you forgave them. But most importantly, I'm glad you forgave yourself because
Yes, that's
after,
important.
yes, and it happened for a reason, whatever the reason may have been. But I'm so grateful for you and your life. So I want to talk about something because you do photography.
Yes.
You do photography. So tell me, how did the photography come about and what you do with the photography?
Well, uh, about as far back as I can remember, my first camera was given to me by my uncle. I knew nothing about cameras or anything. He gave me a camera one day, and I was like, an old Polaroid brown box camera. And I would just go around clicking any and everything. And then he would go to the five and dime and get it developed and see what I took pictures. Most of the times it was my thumb, my hand. And he would say, you gotta aim at stuff and then take a picture. Don't just make sure your hand, take your time and get it in between the lens and take a picture. And the first time I took a picture and he was like, now see, that's nice. I said, oh, okay, I like this. And then I really started liking photography. And I would just take pictures and I would take them and get them developed at the camera store that used to be on Huron.
Mm-hmm.
Camera Mart, I believe that's what.
Yeah.
Is that what
My
it's called?
cousin, yep, it was called that. Yep.
And I noticed every time I went to pick up my photos, it was somebody always looking at them. And I would be standing there, then I look, I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that my picture? And he goes, you took this? I said, yeah. And then it was like, well, what aperture did you use? What speed did you use? And I'm like, huh? What,
Uh,
what?
yeah.
What? What you say? I just saw something I thought was cute and I pointed. And he said, you should take a photography class. But only retain, he said, don't let them change you. I almost don't want you to take the class because I don't want them to change your eye. He said, you have a good eye. So go in class, only retain the stuff that you don't know.
Yes. Okay.
But don't let them tell you how to take a picture or anything. Just stuff you don't know about. That's what you learn. And that's what I did. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh my God, this is fascinating. And I remember the first day I went into the dark room and I developed my first, because I love black and white.
Mhm.
I developed my first photo and I'm sitting there and I'm like looking in the tray and I'm like, ain't nothing happening. I didn't get no picture. And he kept saying, just wait a minute, be patient, just wait. And then all of a sudden I said, something's happening. And I saw the picture come, start developing in the tray. When I tell you, you would have thought I won a Nobel Prize. I was like, oh my God, it's a photo, it's a photo. I was so excited about it. And so I fell in love with it. And like I said, when I had an opportunity to speak with the ladies at the shelter, I noticed all of them were drawn inward. They, kept their head down and they wouldn't really, you know, share anything. So what I did, I got permission from the people who run the shelter because they knew because I sent them a letter detailing what what I wanted to do. Then I went to the women and I told them, I said, at the end of the session, I want to bless each of you with a portrait. And they said, well, how much is, I said, it's going to be free. It's free. I just want to take a portrait. And then I remember the one young lady, why you want to take a picture of us? What you going to do with it? I'm like, I'm going to give it to you.
Mhm.
She said, why? And I was like, because I want you to see yourself as beautiful as God sees you. And she's like, I don't know. I don't think I take good pictures. I said, girl, that's because I ain't took a picture of you yet. Just hold on. And so one by one, I had the women come in. They said, do we got to wear makeup? Do we got, I said, you can come any way you want to. You can come with makeup, without makeup, any way you want to, just come. And so one by one, the women came and I took their photo and I left and I came back and I gave them each person their photo. And when I tell you the way they responded, it just it just made my spirit leap. This one lady, when I gave her photo, she looked at the photo and she looked up. She said, "Who is this?"
Mm.
I said, "Sweetie, that's you." She said, "Oh, you did Photoshop and everything." I said, "No, ma'am. All these are unedited. I did nothing but take the photo." She goes, "So you didn't edit it or nothing?" I said, "Nope. Every blemish, every wrinkle is there." She looked at that picture. She gave me the biggest hug. She
Mm.
came back to me. She said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Sure, anything." She said, "Can you please take another photo of me so I can get on my children so they can see me pretty?" I like to broke down.
Woo!
I like to broke down. And there was one young lady the whole time I was there. She sat in the back of the room and she sat like this with her arms folded and she rolled her eyes at me the entire time. When I took her photo, I asked her, "Could I take it?" She was like, "Yeah, I guess." And I took her photo, and when I brought it back and I gave it to her, she held that photo in her hand for a good 10, 15 minutes. And I'm packing up, getting ready to leave. And she called me, and I turned around and I said, "Yes." She was like, "So this is how you really see me?"
Ooh, Jesus.
I'm like, "What do you mean?" She said, "This is how you see me?" I said, "Yes." "You think I'm beautiful?" I said, "You are beautiful." I said, "More important, that's how God sees you. And I want you to see yourself like God sees you. You're beautiful in his sight. He doesn't care about the ugly past. He loves you." And then she was like, "Well, can I take a picture with her? Can you take a picture? Can I take a picture?" And this closed off, scowling young lady all of a sudden wanted me to take pictures with her and this other young lady. Then she wanted a group photo. Then she wanted another portrait by herself. And I was just so honored that they trusted me enough to know that I was going to take their photos and not do nothing wicked with it. And they trusted me enough to let them see through my work what God sees. And I was just like, "Oh my goodness." I never thought just taking a photo of somebody which would do that. I was hoping it would just make them smile, if nothing else. Because, like I said, a lot of women came from abusive relationships where they've been torn down and told that they're worthless and they're nothing and nobody ever want them. And I just wanted them to at least smile when they saw themselves. And it was life changing for me. And I just was thankful that at just a little bit, God used me just a little bit to change the way they saw themselves.
I want to piggyback. I want to piggyback. He didn't use you in a little way. He used you in a mightily way. Because the thing is, I take pictures and I know what they do for me. You bless them in a way they will never forget. Because again, they have been broken,
Mm-hmm.
mm, hurt on every level. And the fact that you took time out and you blessed them with a photo, like to the average person, they probably be like, okay, it's just a picture.
Mm-hmm.
To someone that doesn't see their beauty, and you said something, I put it in a post. You said this is your ministry. Your ministry is to help capture the beauty of people, their essence. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just thank God for you for being obedient. And you got me crying on the show, and I'm supposed to be a person that's not supposed to be crying. But the fact of the matter is that when you struggled, when you experience a loss, when you experience like
Mm-hmm.
sexual abuse, when you experience so much trauma, to capture beauty, to free somebody from their pain, even if it's for a moment. I thank God for you. I thank God for you, sis. So you just continue to capture those beautiful moments. Continue to spread life and love for individuals. And I thank God for you again. So now, for those that are watching, this is my amazing sister, and I need y'all to make sure that y'all continue to support her. Follow her on Facebook and Instagram. She's going to give y'all her information. Sister Walls, can you please tell us how we can support you, the name of your business, and anything else you want our audience to know about you?
Well, like I say, it's Walls Creation Photography. And my motto is Walls Creation Photography. We make beautiful things happen. You can follow me on Facebook at Shelia Walls, Instagram Shelia Walls, and my Facebook page, photography page, is also under my name, and it's the photo. Um, well, you'll see it when you click on my name. What else? Oh, you can follow me on Viewbug.
Viewbug? I don't know.
Viewbug. I have a lot of my that's where most of my pictures are. Most of my photos are on Viewbug,
Mhm.
and you can type in my name, and it should pull. Um, it'll pull it up. If
Is it this one, Sheikie, under that name on Viewbug?
Yeah, if it's Sheikie. I don't know if you can see it on the screen.
I'm about to type it up. So go to
Yeah.
Viewbug, and that's VIEW bug
Uh
together.
huh. Yes.
Okay.
And it'll come up Sheikie Walls, and you'll see a lot of my photos. There's a lot of flowers and people. It's a array of things on there. Right now, I'm getting ready to actually do. Uh, I have themes in my head, and if I don't, I have to get them out so they'll go away. And so it's couple. I have two projects that I'm getting ready to do, and also I will be rebooting my podcast this today. The episode will probably go up later tonight, and the podcast is called "The Other Side of the Storm," and it's on Spotify.
It's on Spotify.
I I talk. I try to inspire people. It's a lot of subjects that I talk about on there. I say I try to talk about any humorous things, stories. My point mainly it's my intimate point of view on stuff. There's episode before the happily ever after, and I just go on there and you know try to encourage people. I try to encourage people. If you come away with something that just makes you smile, I did my part. That's about it.
Well, I want to say thank you for joining us on today. If
Thank you for having me.
You're so very welcome. And yes, you remember I seen you act. I done seen you
You
speak.
did.
I done seen you
You
just take
realize
pictures. I seen you take pictures. So I'm like, oh my gosh, she has done so much. And I just thank you for sharing your story because I didn't even know what you just said. So I'm glad that you are in a place to share your truth. So is there any last words you would like to leave our audience with today?
that. I leave by saying what I always say at the end of my podcast. You are loved, you are appreciated, you're needed, and the world is a better place with you in it. So go forth and be the best you that you can be, because nobody does it better.
I love it. So I want to say thank you guys for watching us on today. Be sure if you would like to be a guest on the show or you would like to promote your business, your book, your brand, your story, please inbox me today or visit our website at www.tnicole.com. When I tell you, you bless people when you share your story because you never know who may watch it. You never know who may need it. And when you tell your truth, like nobody can beat that. People deserve the truth. And so when you learn to live in your truth, walk in your truth, don't be ashamed or afraid to tell your truth. So on the Tea Nicole Show, you have a voice, you have an outlet to shine and be who you need to be for yourself and for the world. So, thank you guys for tuning in this week with us. And I want to thank my beautiful, amazing sister, Sister Walls, I always call her Sister Walls, for joining us on today and for staying on top of me. I love you, and y'all tune in for next week for another amazing show. Y'all have a blessed, amazing day. So, thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.